Today I am going to present a seminar on the topic of Way to Happier Society. The major theme of my study is the Great Indian Happiness Tragedy. An egalitarian society is the only panacea. In the World Happiness Report 2021, we are at 139th rank out of 149 countries. It's because of why, even though we are a developing nation with a much better GDP growth rate in comparison with underdeveloped nation, we are at last. It's mainly because of the non-egalitarian social framework of India, where the benefits of increased GDP is not trickled down to the depressed sections of the society. Economics is mainly emerged as a part of behavioral economics, where human beings consider as irrational. Normally, in all the economics theories, there will be an assumption that human beings are rational, but actually, in the real world, human beings act in an irrational manner. So, the happiness economics is also considered the man as an irrational man, and at the same time, it is a part of the normative economics where value judgment has its own importance. And here neoclassical economists suggest that happiness is a function of income level, and they argued that there is a positive correlation between income and happiness. But the emerging economists, the recent economists, criticized this argument of neoclassical economists, and they argued that happiness is a multi-dimensional phenomenon, and at the same time that we can say that happiness is a qualitative variable, so we can use qualitative response model in order to analyze the happiness level at the individual level. But actually, we cannot deny the fact that there is a positive relationship between income and happiness. Actually, there exists a positive relationship between income and happiness, or at macro level, there exists a positive relationship between GDP and happiness, or GNP and happiness. But if and only if the increased GDP is distributed among the depressed sections of the society as well, then only we can achieve the increased happiness among our citizens. Money has never made a man happy, nor will it. There is nothing in its nature to produce happiness. The more of it one has, the more one want. These words are by Benjamin Franklin. That means that money has never made a man happy. That means that money alone cannot make a man happy. It's because of why? It's because of the reason that we are very familiar with the principle of diminishing marginal utility of Gaussens. That is, even if the income is increased, the increased income can provide us happiness only up to a certain level, and after that certain level, the utility that we derived from the increased income will diminish. And the famous economist Daniel Kahneman, we know that he is a Nobel laureate, and he along with Angus Dealton has empirically proved that emotional well-being rose with endings only up to a threshold of 75,000 only. That means that the happiness or emotional well-being given by the increased income is only up to $75,000. That means that after that there will be a negative utility, or the money cannot give a man happiness only after this point. Work of happiness economics, we can find four theories of happiness, named as set point theory, livability theory, affective theory, and social comparison theory. In brief, the set point theory says that the happiness is a single value, or even though the happiness of an individual is volatile during a day or from hour to hour, the average value of happiness of an individual in the entire lifespan will gravitate towards a particular point. That is set point theory. The set point theory was criticized by many economists, and as a result of it, the livability theory introduced by some other economists named as Easterlin, etc. They said that the set point theory is entirely wrong. That is, if the set point theory is wrong, there is nothing to do with the governments to increase the happiness of an individual, because the happiness is a constant thing. So the livability theory says that the happiness is influenced by so many factors, and if we influence the factors or regressors that affect happiness, we can increase the happiness level of the country. And the next theory is affective theory. The affective theory says that the happiness is a subjective thing. That is, an individual can only measure measure his own or her own happiness. That is affective theory. The external person cannot happiness other person's happiness. That is affective theory. And the last one is social comparison theory. The social comparison theory says that the happiness can be measured by comparison. This comparison may be in two forms. The first form is we can compare our present happiness with our past happiness, and the second way is we compare our happiness with the happiness of other individuals in a community or within a dwelling place, etc. These are the four major theories of happiness. The World Happiness Report 2021. The World Happiness Report, actually it is an yearly publication of the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network, and this report is based on subjective analysis of happiness where individual ranks his or her own happiness based on their own lives. That is the usage of affective theory, and the report uses the data of Gallup World Report. And the recent report, the World Happiness Report 2021, has published on March 20, 2021. The speciality of March 20 is that the March 20 is the International Day of Happiness, and it has been celebrated as International Day of Happiness since 2012. And the term gross national happiness was firstly termed by King Singer Wangchuck on who is the fourth king of Bhutan, and he announced the term gross national happiness in 1972. It was Bhutan, the first country which introduced the concept of gross national happiness, and since 1972 they have measured the gross national happiness by using nine domains: psychological well-being, health, education, time use, cultural diversity, good governance, community vitality, ecological diversity, and living standards. These nine domains, and there may be so many sub-factors under these nine domains. These are the major regressors of happiness. The happiness is influenced by all these regressors, and Bhutan itself introduced the gross national happiness index since 1972. And according to the World Happiness Report, India is at a very pathetic stage. That is, India is now, as per the recent report, India is on 139th rank out of 149 countries. And when we analyze the report of previous years, we can say that our condition is very pathetic, because the rank is out of 149, and at the same time the total happiness mark is 10. So we cannot we can't achieve 5 in any year. So it is very pathetic. And the recent report said that the score of our happiness is 3.82 out of 10, and our rank is 139. The better performance was on 2014, that we had secured 111th rank, and our happiness score was 4.77, and the worst performance was on 2020. That is, when we analyze the theoretical frame, recently Professor Rajesh Pillania surveyed and cooked the Happiness Report 2020, and he also analyzed the impact of COVID-19 on Indian happiness. The study showed a positive correlation between marital status, income, education, and happiness. The survey showed gender is not correlated with happiness in India. Mizoram is the most happiest state in India. Chhattisgarh ranked at last. There is no state whose happiness score is more than 5, that is average point. All states are running with below average happiness. Kerala is the most educated, healthy state, is at 14th rank. We can see the influence of Kerala model of development in this report. The only survey took place in Kerala for the measurement of happiness is Manorama News Conclave, and the study showed that the Kerala is not at a very good stage, and this is known as the Great Indian Happiness Project.